one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
You view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success.
Welcome to Kicking It with Saint. I am your host, Saint. We got a lot of sport. We ain't really got a lot of sports to talk about today. We got a lot of basketball to talk about today. First off, though, I hope you are having a dope day, dope afternoon, dope night, whichever point in time you listen to this. I appreciate you for checking me out. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to stop by and check the kid out. We are a growing, up-and-coming sports channel, hopefully. I enjoy this. I really do. If you hear something you enjoy in this, fuck with me. Fuck with me. You dig? But listen, we got a lot to talk about. Last show, I talked about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I spent a lot of time talking about Minnesota and whatnot. I didn't really get to touch on what Minnesota can do going forward. I'll probably touch on that in my wrap-up of the NBA season once the playoffs have ended. But tonight, we talk about the other series that happened out east. And the team that will be advancing to the conference, to the NBA Finals to represent the Eastern Conference. The Indiana Pacers took out the New York Knickerbockers in 6 games. Now, because it just happened and it's fresh, before it happened, most of the show was going to be used to talk about Tyrese Halliburton, the Pacers, everything they do well, my predictions for the finals, yada, yada, yada. And I'm pretty sure I was going to touch on the Knicks on that show. I don't know if I was going to spend as much time on the Knicks as I now am going to spend on the Knicks. Because I think a day or two after the series ended, after the Knickerbockers were sent packing, Tom Thibodeau was fired. Now, a lot of people feel a certain way about it. Some people really don't like it. I'm kind of in the middle on it. I didn't expect the Knicks to fire Tom Thibodeau, but I'm not shocked that they did. So I'll touch on it when that's basically what we're going to start the beginning of the show with. The New York Knicks. I wanted to start off praising and talking about the team that won, but sometimes things just don't happen that way. I will say this, though. While I wanted the Pacers to win just because I like Tyrese Halliburton, so I had no dog in the fight, so I just went with the player that I liked the most in that series. It would have been hilarious if New York had won. Just the thought of New York fans chanting "fuck Trae Young" and then "fuck Tyrese Halliburton" would have been fucking hilarious to me. Because with everything the Knicks do, with any type of success they have, they got to remind you at all times, fuck Trae Young. Now, I'm a Trae Young fan. I am an Ice Trae fan. And I like Tyrese Halliburton. So it's very interesting that 2 of the guards that I like, New York fans hate. That's very interesting. But speaking on the New York Knicks side of things, you know, firing Thibbs it's really not shocking to me, because when I look at why the Knicks lost these playoff series the last couple years, for one, I think a big thing is managing expectations. And And I don't really know what in this situation you would call unrealistic expectations, because I don't actually believe. So let me just break it down. I do think the lack of managing expectations is exactly why Thibbs probably was fired. It's one of the reasons as to why he was fired. But I get it in a sense, because you say to yourself, well, we just beat the Boston Celtics. A lot of people thought Boston was the best team in the East, and that's the team that was headed to the finals. When you beat the Boston Celtics, in your mind, in the owner's mind, in the fans' mind, probably the players and the coaches, we should be going to the finals. But see, that's where the mismanagement of expectations come in. Because while I do understand why expectations would be high after beating the Boston Celtics, you still got to understand Jason Tatum and the way that the Celtics play. At some point in time, that was going to bite them in the ass, because it's bitten them in the ass more times than it's not. When you look at this team, and I know I really don't want to use it in this way, because you could really look at any player's situation like this, but I think that the Boston Celtics could have been champions multiple times over. But because of the way they play ball, they're only a one-time champion with this group. I believe when you look at the real things that matter when it comes to Boston, not just, oh, well, Jason Tatum and Brown have been together this long and they only done won once together. And when they became legitimate, they should be a championship team, guys, they have only got it done once. I do believe they had a very favorable matchup for them last year in the finals. But I still believe that if you really manage your expectations, you shouldn't have been, oh, we beat the Celtics, so now we can't lose. We headed to the finals. That's a mismanagement of expectations. And I don't think that was the players. I don't think that was the coaches. I think that's the owners. I think that's the fans. Because you look at Boston, because put it like this. If Boston, regardless of if they were, and Boston you can look at Boston and say, bro, they had different things as to why they didn't play the way we expect them to play. But let's just throw that out. If you switch Boston with the Miami Heat, Miami done been to the finals, 2 times under Jimmy Butler and whatnot. If they had to beat this Miami Heat team, you wouldn't have. If Boston got knocked out in the first round, the expectation would not be just for the Knicks, like, oh, we could get to the finals. Every team in the East would be, we can get to the finals now. It wouldn't just be that for the Knicks. But if you are a Knicks fan, let's say you didn't beat Boston. You just beat, let's say Boston got knocked out for whatever reason. They was hurt, whatever. And you just beat a completely different team. I do not believe that the expectation then would be, oh, because we beat this team, we immediately head to the final. I think you would manage your expectations more. You would still hope and think to yourself, okay, we have the better team. But your expectation would no longer be to walk over teams just because we beat Boston. So I think one of the reasons a lot of people feel the way they felt after the loss is just because you beat Boston. Because you lost to you lost to New York. You lost to Indy last year. Indy is very capable of beating you. Yes, you did not have Karl Anthony Towns last year, but we just saw Indiana take out Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, this is not to me, if you are the Knicks, you should not have looked at the Pacers as we can just get through them. I don't believe that the players looked at it that way. If you are a fan, however, just because you beat Boston, your new reality was we should easily beat Indiana. And I just think that's where you mismanage your expectations, or you become lost in the sauce, rather. Because now you disrespect what other teams can do. You forget matchups and how a team play. What works against one team don't necessarily work against it. Because as great as Dallas was, when they got to the finals last year, I expected Boston to do exactly what Boston did to them. You don't say, oh, because we beat the champions, who were the matter of fact, it wasn't even they didn't even beat just because we beat Anthony Edwards, who just took out Jokic. We definitely gonna beat Boston because they haven't won a championship. It don't work like that, and I just think New York fans, for whatever reason, because this is not a every fan based type of thing. This is the big market type of fans, and you do have to have a little. It kind of reminds me of Cowboy fans. I'm not gonna lie to you, but the New York fans are way more entertaining than Cowboy fans. Like, New York fans crack me up. Cowboy fans just fucking annoying at this point. But I just believe because New York fans are the way they are, expectations got a little mismanaged. You didn't take Indy as serious as you should have. And that's one of the reasons you look and say, he should have beat this team. Now, while I do believe expectations from fans and the owners got a little out the window because you beat Boston, I do understand it in a sense. Now, I won't understand going in and just thinking we should beat this team, because I don't believe that the Knicks were that much better, if even better, on paper to say they should just beat Indy, in my opinion. If it's a New York fan out there who feel that way, they probably this probably the New York in them. But I do understand what that euphoria of beating Boston would then do for you. However, once again, that's when you have to still manage your expectations as a fan. Now, with that being said, I do understand fans kind of blaming Thibbs. Because regardless of the expectations of after we beat Boston, we should have. Fans do have the right, and the owners and the players for that matter, have the right to say after this many years, we should be getting better in some aspect that we haven't been good at in the past, basically. Every year after Thibbs, regardless of if you believe it's true or not, regardless if it's evidence to prove that it's true or not true, every year cannot end with your players gassed out. Every year can't be a conversation of, did he run his players into the ground? Every year it can't be a conversation of, did he play his bench enough? Every year those cannot continuously be the conversations. Great coaches figure one of those three out every single year. Okay? All three will not be a problem every single year, especially when you have not won a championship. Because a champion, when you are trying to become a champion, you try to get all the little things right because you've never been there before. So you don't know what you can be laxed on. Like LeBron and Curry and Kobe and they might have played. We always talk about how champions play after they win a championship, or they don't go as hard in the regular season because they preparing for the postseason. We say that about seasoned champions. When you're not a seasoned champion, you try to get all the little things right. You go for those undefeated records. You go for those crazy records because you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, you done seen other teams try to go for it and fail, but we different. We not that team. We got the history. We got the advantage of seeing what they did before us. So it's different in that aspect. But I do understand where Knicks fans are coming from in that aspect of he having the same problems we had last year, the year before. We still having them. How can we become champions if we can't clean up the same problems we've had for the last couple years? And I perfectly understand that, because within expectations of being a champion, if you say they are unrealistic for fans when they mismanage them, they get unrealistic expectations off of this or that. Well, you could say the same thing if you've yet to become a champion and these three problems have persisted every year. How can you truly say that you have realistic expectations if every year this hasn't had any type of, we have not won or went to a finals with this, but you keep doing it every year as if the result has been different. Like at the end of the tunnel, we ain't always failed. I do get that. Because I'm going to be honest, this is where I understand where the thing that's hurting Thibbs is it's not just New York. You can go back to Chicago. You can go back to Minnesota. You can go to New York. And if he had another stop in there in between that I'm forgetting about, every single one of Thibbs' teams, at the end of his tenure, it's always they ran out of gas. He ran him into the ground. He don't use his bench enough. He mismanaged the clock, or he mismanaged his players. Like every single time. At some point in time, if you are going to become a championship head coach and have a championship team, these three problems that have yet to get you there and win it, at some point in time, you got to realize, okay, I might have to clean these three things up. Clearly, they are more of a detriment to us than I have realized. That's the thing that I understand with the fans. And I'm going to be honest, I truly understand. If that's why you fired Thibbs, I get it. Because as much as people, like I saw Joy Taylor say the other day, just one more year with this team. What is one more year if I don't truly believe you are winning a championship? See, this is why I hate praising these dudes sometimes, but you just got to do it when you got to do it. The Golden State Warriors, because I think they have done actually more to hurt Steph Curry's career than to actually help it. And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't have the time to explain it all. I do not think, and I'm not saying Golden State has been trash for Steph. What I'm saying is when you look at the benefits they have, when you look at what Steph has done for them and what they have done for Steph, I just don't think it's night and day in my opinion. But, and also when you look at what Steph has done for the league. But anyways, I use this example. The Warriors could have kept Mark Jackson. They could have kept telling themselves, one more year, he gonna figure it out. We just got to give him one more year. Or you can go to Steve Kerr because you have a strong feeling we are right there. And this coach, we don't know how, we don't know when, but we just have a feeling he will get us over that hump. Ever since the Warriors made that move, it is very hard for me because I wasn't mad that Denver got rid of Mike Malone. I thought it was weird to get rid of him when they got rid of him. But if they had gotten rid of him, I think the problem was when they fired Mike Malone, not that they fired Mike Malone. Also, some people feel when you are a championship head coach, especially because Mike Malone won a championship not even, 5 years ago, that should give you more rope. I think I agree to an extent, but it do get kind of shaky when you become a Mike Tomlin type rope because you won some championships before, or I think he won a title before, maybe two. I'm kind of foggy at the moment because Pittsburgh ain't won in so long. But if you are James Dolan or Knicks management, and every year you feel like you have the team to get over the hump, but because of the way Thibbs coaches the team and the way he employs his team, we keep falling short. You have every right, in my opinion, to go out and make it. Now, you can't bring in a head coach that's just... Matter of fact, I'm going to be honest. I don't care who they bring in. I think this is it's going to sound crazy because I'm basically picking a side. I'm very much fine with this move by the New York Knicks. As long as the coach that they bring in works and eventually gets them to a finals, I think it's a good move. Because I also do not believe that Thibbs is getting the New York Knicks to a championship. Because I tend to agree with... Because I was basically just playing devil's advocate earlier. Because I also agree with Knicks fans and the owners who believe, and GMs who believe, and the people who say... Because to me, it just can't be every single year, this is why we think you lost. And I can't keep saying, well, we maybe it's not. We can't prove this. Every year, bro, come on. At some point in time, yeah, this is probably the reason that they keep losing. So, for me, I truly, and this is the biggest thing. With the way teams play today, to ask 7 guys or 6 guys to play that many minutes all year is insane to me. when you look at how good, I was going to say great, when you look at how good or great the Warriors championship teams been, look at those benches. Look at the guys that came off of the bench for those the Cavalier teams. Look at the guys who played on the bench for any of those LeBron James teams. Look at the guys who came off of the bench for the Spurs. Look at the guys who came off of the bench. Oh, not even just the bench players. Look at the role players and the bench players for the Spurs teams, for those Lakers and the Kobe Laker teams, for the Kobe and Shaq teams, for the Showtime Laker teams, for the Boston teams. Like, look at all of those teams. All of these championship teams. And look at how deep they were. Look at how many other players played key roles throughout the entirety of the runs. I'm a Laker guy, so I can talk about Andrew Bynum, Shannon Brown, Sasha Vujacic, Jordan Farmar, Derek Fisher, what's my man's name? Lamar Odom. I can name guys who probably not Hall of Famers, probably guys who don't jump off the TV to you if you probably don't even remember if you don't know, if you ain't elect. But I watched those teams, so I know the roles they played. You look at that team, even some of the teams that didn't win. That Orlando team with Dwight Howard, Hedo Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis, Jameer Nelson. You look at all the shooters that they had on that team. I think JJ Redick was on that team. Like, Mikael Petrus. Like, look at all of these teams throughout history. Look at the Boston team from last year. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White. You got Peyton Pritchard. You got who some other dudes? Al Horford. Fucking you can really name all of these Boston teams the last couple of years and all the different players they done had throughout the team. You just look at all of the championship teams and the teams that compete for the championships and look at how deep those rosters were. One of the biggest reasons the Dallas got their asses beat in last year, they had no depth. Regardless of injury or just guys weren't good enough to play in that series. The lack of depth really hurt the Dallas last year, and also Kyrie and how bad he played. You look at the teams this year that done made it to the finals. It's not just Halliburton. You got Hali. You got Miles Turner, Nembhard, Naismith, Siakam, McCollum. Like, all of those different. You go to OKC. You look at all the different players on the OK. I'm gonna be honest with you. To remember, you got the two different Williams. You got Shea. I don't want people to be like, well, no, they just got Shea. No, they don't just got Shea. And regardless, they have a plethora of different, like, it's so many teams. The champions and the teams that compete for the title, they are deep. You look at Thibbs' teams. You look at the players he is refusing to use on a consistent basis. You look at how tired his players look. They don't look fresh at the end of the season. And I'm going to be honest. One of the biggest reasons I always was, like I said, I didn't think the Knicks would do it. I clearly forgot this was New York that feel like they got a chance to win a championship. They going to make a move. But one of the biggest reasons I also agree with this move is because I believe this is a double dumbass, basically. I don't agree with the way Thibbs run this team because I think the evidence has now shown this shit don't work. But on top of not agreeing with how he run this team, bro, you don't use your bench. So basically, I don't agree with your offensive game plan of how you play the guys. So basically, you could tie both of those in. Basically, the way you tie, because I don't want to say run the team basically like you're a GM. The way his offensive game plan mixed with his defense is, it makes no sense to me that you don't use a plethora of players when you play that way. But on top of that, you got Jalen Brunson who played the way he played. A dude who, listen, when it's going good, great, a lot of people love it. But I have always talked about the dudes who dribble the air out of the ball and how it's just always naturally harder to win that way. And I understand what Steph Curry does is an anomaly, most of the players throughout history who have won championships, even when they have had talent around them, they usually have a ball-dominant player on said team. The problem is, niggas like Jokic is winning championship. Curry has won so many championships. And these are not players who seem to be on the ball all the time. These are not players who seemingly can't come off of the ball and still be effective. So it's very hard when you play so many minutes, you don't use your bench, and you play such a ball-stopping type of offense that if you put a great defender on Jalen Brunson, he is already probably tired because of how you play him. But now, because of how tired he is getting locked down, and it hurts the rest of your offense because they don't really know what to do when he ain't dominating the ball. I just never thought that was a recipe for success. And so, I 100% agree with this firing. While I did not think it would happen, I 100% agree with it. Also, people who have talked about, I saw that clip of Gil basically saying Carl is built like a bitch. I saw that clip, and I pray that I'm never that disrespectful to a player. Now, if I ever get to the point where I'm big enough and a player don't like something I said about him, and he disrespect me or she disrespects me, I wouldn't go back at a woman. So, I pray that because I ain't gonna lie, if I ever get to that level where, because it don't matter how big I get, because I would do this now. Like, I know my ego, and I don't know if it's ego or it's my anger just still ain't in control. But if you disrespect me when I didn't do anything disrespectful to you, I don't know what I'm liable to come back with. Outside of that, though, we got a little off track right there because I was talking to myself in my head like... Anyways, I saw how Carl was talked about by Gil, and I just pray that I never talk about players like that, because I do believe that that's one of the reasons I don't really like watching the Gil. Well, I don't watch the shit anyway. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't like. I think them niggas is goofy, bro. I think they disrespect niggas for no reason. I really don't watch Club 520 that much no more either, because I don't really understand why niggas get on these platforms and start tap dancing for Caitlin Clark, for one, like Jeff T keep doing. And I also don't understand what do they get out of disrespecting the WNBA. Like, nobody is forcing you niggas to talk about. The only player that you niggas, Caitlin Clark, if she ain't coming on your show, bro, I don't know if she ever will, because we clearly know no other WNBA player going on there, the way y'all disrespect them. Like, and I always understand more and more why the young black generation of dudes grow up to disrespect and not really look. Because I used to, growing up as a young black man, we used to revere black women growing up because we was raised by our moms. Seeing so many dudes so willingly disrespect black women, black men that are so quick to disrespect black women, it's just so wild to me, because the young dudes look at that and they eat that shit up, and then they think it's cool that they do it. And the way that Jeff T just consistently has disrespected the WNBA and a lot of the stars in it for no fucking reason, just because it's for laughs or whatever, I really don't understand that. Because I'm never going to be cool with disrespecting niggas just to disrespect niggas. Like, you can praise people without disrespecting them. And the fact that 520 think that it's cool to, the only way we could praise Caitlin Clark or dick ride Caitlin Clark is by, because it ain't dick riding if you legitimately just giving people their props. It become unreasonable dick riding when you have to disrespect other things or other people to try to get a point across. This just straight up, click guzzling, because at this point I don't get it. But I digress, because I could have got really deep in a tangent right there. But this hold up, bro. Let me take a sip of my drink. this disrespect that people keep. Like, I done said some things about Carl. I don't think I done disrespected the man. I talk about how he play. I don't got no problem with them talking about he plays too soft or something like that. But calling the man, saying you built like a bitch. That nigga just say shit that he know niggas will not beat his ass over because niggas got too much money involved. See, that's the thing some young people don't get to see or don't understand it because you so caught up in the flashing lights and drama and stuff. Really, I say it all the time. Young dudes always say this and that about women. They are worse than women nowadays, yo. Dead ass. These young dudes coming up act just like the bitches they claim that they hate. But Carl Anthony can only say something to Gil because Gil might be making good money. He ain't making what Carl Anthony Towns making in the NBA because Carl Anthony Towns is still a professional athlete making max contracts. That's not the type of money that Gil gonna see in one contract again. Unless he hits some crazy, and I don't even think a podcasting deal exists out there that's getting you NBA contract type money. And when Gil played, they wasn't signing for the shit that Cat Anthony Towns is still signing for. Like, niggas don't understand. Carl got another max contract in him more than likely. This is not some 35, 36-year-old player. And this is not a big man who rely on banging down low and whatnot. The nigga would love to not even have to play down low. He loves standing outside shooting. Which ultimately will probably work in his benefit to continue to make money. When you make as much money as Cat making, when you involved in the things that Cat have to be involved with, you can't just be cursing and fighting and saying stupid shit that some people who don't have these type of obligations can say. So Gil can get away with saying Carl Anthony Towns is built like a bitch. Because Carl Anthony Towns is too, it's not even about him being mature. Because I'm pretty sure Cat is mature. But he just making too much money. He too worried about making sure his family, with a man who done lost what Carl Anthony Towns has lost as far as family, I'm almost certain all he care about is making sure he do right by his family and do everything he can to put his family in the best position to succeed. So he can't just come out here and respond the way somebody like me, who ain't got nothing to lose right now, will respond to those comments by Gil. He can't respond the way somebody who making $2 million a year will respond to Gilbert Arenas. Because for us, for somebody like that who making less than $50K a year, and somebody who would be making that's nothing. That's chump change to what Carl Anthony Towns is making in half a year. So he got a lot to lose. So when people go at him like, oh, I bet you he won't respond. Yeah, because he make too much money to respond. When you hit a certain level, you become a businessman, not just a businessman. Hove talk to him. But getting into Carl Anthony, I do not believe that for all of the flaws people have about Carl Anthony, which I already pointed out last year and the year before, Carl is the same nigga. I would even argue he was better this year than he has been in Minnesota. I believe that this Knicks team is a champion. You could get this team to the championship. The problem is, to me, I feel so strongly that the lack of utilizing a legitimate rotation, a deep rotation, a bench, guys, at no point in time can Tom Thibodeau put his bench on the floor without Cat and without Brunson for long minutes. At no point in time can he just put out all bench players and rely on his six man to run that unit. Because I don't even know if he could put out three guys on his bench all on the same time. Like, that is a problem. That's a problem. We always rave, and I'm not going to go through the list again like I just did. Like I said earlier about all of the many. Think about the players and the role players I didn't name on teams like the Spurs. Those Warriors championship teams. We know so many great players. We done seen role players on those two teams play so great throughout stretches. We consider them Hall of Famers in our mind. They are Hall of Fame role players in our mind. The Sean Livingston's of the world, the David West of the world, the Bruce Bowens of the world, the Manu fucking Ginobili's of the world. Like, stop playing with me, bro. Patty Mills of the world. Like, talk to Otto Porter. I remember what you did. Like, at this point, Jordan Poole. Like, you just don't have that with Tom Thibodeau-led teams. And at some point in time, it can't be all grit and all, just fight. At some point in time, the coach got to be smart enough to have a deep rotation. So when Brunson, his only days off ain't just when he don't play or when he hurt. He actually got days off because, oh shit, my backup going off tonight, so I don't even got to play that much. I can take a rest night. Now, that's a mentality thing for Jalen Brunson at some point in time also, to understand when he can take nights off in a game too. But right now, you just don't have that because you don't have a deep enough team. And I do believe that's a problem. Like, you look at these teams that's deep in the East. I believe I believe that there is a coach out there that you could bring in right now for the New York Knicks. They got all the pieces. The only thing that the new coach would have to bring in is affordable role players that legitimately can play roles. If you do that, bro, what is it to try to get Jalen Brunson off of the ball to not have him dribble the air out of it as much? What is it to get him and Cat playing in a legitimate system, not just a your turn, my turn? What would it be to get Jalen Brunson to buy into a legitimate offense and play more of a point guard type of role so that he has help now with the other top guys who get paid? OG, Mikal Bridges, put them in roles to give them opportunities to be consistent scorers, not just defensive guys who only go out there thinking about playing defense. Or when OG have a great game, it's a once in a blue moon. No, it's systems out there from coaches out there that could put the Knicks in a far better position to be successful than what Thibbs has put them in. And I like Tom Thibodeau, but the facts to me are the facts at this point. I cannot argue with this. There is a coach out there. I think Mike Malone would be phenomenal for this team. Like, there were coaches out there. Obviously, you ain't getting Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr would be phenomenal for this team right now. But there are systems out there with coaches out there. Coaches with systems out there that could put the Knicks in a far better position. Because when you look at what the Knicks tried to compete against with the Pacers not gassed out. Pacers not tired, fatigued. They deep and they run. And they play with pace. And ultimately, you lost to that twice, 2 years in a row. Rick Carlisle don't believe in just, I'm going to just run 7 guys into the ground. At some point in time, maybe Thibbs gets to the finals and wins it all because every single team he play exactly like him. And there'll never be a team out there that'll probably be able to beat Thibbs at playing the way he play. But that has yet to happen. So I understand the move by the Knicks. I believe the Knicks need to get better players to make a deep, not as far as like, get a bench. Get a legitimate 5-6 guys that you rely on. Not even 6, like 5 guys that you can bring in for. And I'm saying they all got to be scorers. Bring in 5 to 6 guys who can play good. You probably already got something there. So you probably don't even need that many guys. You probably really only need 3 to 4 guys who can legitimately come off of your bench and make a difference for you. Look at all these other teams that are legitimately competing for championships, who have great rotations and deep rotations, who can rely and fall back. And I'm not saying, oh, well, if we lose Brunson, it's over regardless. Nigga, it's over for every team when they lose their best player, period. It's only so much a role player can do for you. But to have those players healthy and to have backup, legit backup, is a luxury that for some reason Tom Thibodeau is not affording Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. I do not believe Karl Anthony Towns is built like a bitch. I believe, and people talking about his defense, this nigga has never been a good defender, ever in his career. Why are we tripping now? Like, I guess it's in the New York thing. I don't know. But the big bodega, he's fine, bro. I think that I like Karl Anthony Towns with Jalen Brunson in this offense. Karl done played with ball dominant niggas before. Now, Ant Edwards is a little bit more willing to pass it than Jalen Brunson is. He ain't as ball dominant as Jalen Brunson, which might have been a problem in his last series. Nonetheless, I think this can work out. I like the Knicks' talent. I truly believe all they need is a head coach that will put them in a system. Get rid of the 80-90% of the time we letting Jalen Brunson make decisions and dribble the air out. No. Employ a real offense to put guys, because you have so much talent on this team that if you just bring in a system that can put, and that's really what they need to be looking for. They need to bring in a coach that can say, I have a system to where we no longer have to rely on, I need to beat my man one-on-one. I'm going to put us in a position where the game will be way easier for Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and everybody else. And it'll be more easier for those other guys because what we finna do with these two stars will help everybody else. It's a way for the Knicks to be successful, and it ain't that hard. And I don't think that would have ever happened with Thibbs because clearly he is not changing. Now, to use the rest of the show to talk about my guy. I think Tyrese Haliburton was robbed of Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And I also believe, thinking back on it, if a team gets to this point, more than likely a team done played 2 rounds. It's 100% guaranteed. Why is this not just a who played the best up to I mean, I guess I get to the extent, like, I just think this is one of them rare situations where I think while Pascal did have some great scoring games, Tyrese Haliburton have been great for them all playoffs. And people can say, oh, well, this guy had a good game. This guy had a good... Bro, Pascal was the leading scorer for the Pacers. Tyrese was second. Tyrese led these niggas in every other statistic. Every other statistic. Rebounds, blocks, name it, he led him in it. How the fuck did Siakam win this award? Like, I don't think it's egregious, but it just feel like the media and people have the media got way too much power because it just always feel like the media, when they not ready to accept something, they will hold. They know good and motherfucking well Steph Curry should have been Finals MVP. But they still had LeBron's nuts firmly down their throats. So they say, well, despite him, even though he didn't win it, he got the championship over LeBron, we gonna hold this Finals MVP against him. And when KD got there, Lord knows they was ecstatic to be able to do that shit then. Because he should have won that second Finals MVP, not Kevin Durant. But then, them niggas said because Steph had one bad game, that all these other games don't matter, nigga. KD the MVP. Like, what? Nonetheless, I will never be mad at Kevin Durant for winning MVP over Steph Curry. Andre Iguodala winning fucking Finals MVP over Steph? No, sir. No, sir. And that's kind of what I feel like just happened. And I don't want to disrespect Pascal Siakam because Pascal Siakam is a champion. However, Pascal was the second best player in this series. Eventually, I'm going to have a conversation about Miles Turner because, Miles, you have to be better. Like, he haven't been bad or anything like that. But I just want to point out, I don't think I have yet to have a game this postseason where it's like, oh, Miles Turner went crazy. Or Miles Turner the reason they won this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't the reason they losing or nothing like that. But I just feel like him stepping up would make this team even better. Like, people wouldn't be thinking they're going to get waxed by OKC. But I will be willing to admit, I could be biased. There's a couple reasons. I'm always be honest. For one, I'm a Tyrese Haliburton fan. So I could be being biased just in my fandom for Tyrese alone. But two, I love Steph Curry. Pascal got a championship off of Steph that he wouldn't have got if KD and Clay didn't get hurt. So I could be harboring some animosity. Who knows? So I'm just going to put it all out there. I could be being biased. My bias could be taking over. But I do not, after watching that series, I never for one second, I think that's my problem. At no point in time, even with Pascal having them scoring games, at no point in time did I think to myself, oh yeah, he the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. At no point did I think that. At no point did I think that. Because to me, scoring alone, compared to what Tyrese was doing for you, to me, I still don't understand how he won it. I slept on it for a couple days. I didn't change. As a matter of fact, I became more steadfast and firm in my beliefs that Tyrese was robbed. I don't know how the fuck he didn't win that award, bro. It's actually pretty crazy to me that he didn't win. And then when he give you I think Tyrese Halliburton might be a player that the NBA look back on and fans look back on and regret hating him. Because you know how many fans regret not giving Steph Curry the love and the appreciation he should have got early on. So now they got to be a hater. They done made a name on whoop. I done hated him so long. I got no choice. You know how many fans could wish they could go back and redo how they talked about him? That's going to happen with Tyrese, bro. Like, I think Steph Curry got a lot of niggas fucked up. Niggas think that you got to be scoring like Steph Curry or some shit like that, or maybe like, so when Tyrese, I don't know what it is, but Tyrese is cold. Just like I think Shea Gill cold. I think them two the best. I think those are the two best point guards in the NBA, not named Steph Curry. Because I'm not putting nobody over Steph till Steph is out of the league. It's the same way I don't put anybody at the position over LeBron or KD. Because it's just a respect thing, man. I grew up watching them boys, and they still doing it at a high level. Now, LeBron ain't doing it at as high a level as KD and Steph are, as far as individually. But LeBron's still that dude. I just said that to trigger LeBron stands, bro. LeBron's still doing it at a high level. I can hear LeBron stand right now. Bro, he 40 years old, bro. What are you talking about? Calm down, buddy. Okay? I apologize. I just did that to get a rise out of you. All right? Pause. But I think Hali should have won it. Like I said, no disrespect to Tyrese. I mean, no disrespect to Pascal Siakam, but nah. I don't think he should have won that award. You only led the team in scoring, bro. And you didn't lead the team in scoring in the sense like Tyrese just was trash. Tyrese averaged 5 points a game, so his scoring was just so needed. In the Andre Iguodala situation, yeah, Steph Curry's points was very much needed, and they still decided to give that shit to Andre. Listen, man. Maybe I'm biased. I just don't think Pascal should have won that award. I ain't hating. Well, no, I am hating on it. I was finna say I ain't mad about it, but no, I am mad about it. Nah, I ain't like, man, oh, well, fuck Pascal. Nah, I ain't mad about it. I'm never gonna be that mad about anything. But I am like, damn, my boy should have won that. I think Tyrese should have won that. Now, people keep saying that these boys have no hope in the finals. I don't agree with that either. I don't know why people are so addicted to predicting ass beatings this postseason. I swear to God, ever since the Lakers got waxed by Minnesota, now every analyst who root for the Lakers or LeBron is saying every other team gonna get waxed, bro. It's crazy. I don't think this is gonna be a waxing. Obviously, OKC just waxed Minnesota. That's different. I predicted that was gonna be an ass beating because I never thought Minnesota should have been there. I done made that very clear. The only waxing of asses that I have predicted was Minnesota. Because Minnesota, I never predicted to beat the Warriors. They beat the Warriors because Steph was hurt. And every one of them fucking games was close throughout the entirety of the game, except for probably one. Until at the end when the Warriors had nothing. So now, obviously, you got Ant to close the deal. You don't have your closer if you're the Warriors. The Warriors had Steph. I do not believe. I predicted it was going to be a 5-game series between the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Between the Warriors and Carl Anthony. Good Jesus Christ. And the Timberwolves. I said the most I could see is 6. But I said I think it might be 5. Because I said that's how much better I think with Steph Curry the Warriors are. At the time, you didn't have to say with Steph Curry because Steph was not hurt. I don't think this is about to be like an ass beating. I truly don't. And I don't think this just because I like Hali. I don't like Hali that much to just be disingenuous. I don't think people watch the Pacers. I think that's why people think this is about to be an ass beating. I do not even think that Minnesota is as deep as the Pacers. At least they didn't play like they was a deep team throughout the series against OKC. And I understand OKC played great defense. See, one of my biggest problems with OKC is the way I think that refs allow them to play and how they officiate other teams. Because the way that them niggas been letting Lou Dort guard people for the last 2 to 3 years. Like, I watched Lou Dort guard Brandon Ingram in a playoff series. I think it was like 2 years ago. He fouled Brandon Ingram almost every play. The refs just called it good defense. So I done seen them allow Patrick Beverly basically to just foul the hell out of dudes and call it great defense. So until that type of shit get fixed up in the NBA, I don't know how that could play, because that's the thing that could determine everything. Now, I don't think that was the sole thing that determined that series with Minnesota, but I'm not going to sit here and be disingenuous. I do understand how the referees allow OKC to guard people. Now, with that being said, this is one of the reasons you have to have a deeper team. Guys who you can rely on outside of just your starting 3, really. You got to have other guys. I believe, because the Pacers aren't a great defensive team, but the Pacers do a lot of great things. And I do believe it's a lot of different ways that the Pacers can. Not to mention, we just saw Shea Gill shoot the ball like shit in this last series. If Shea struggles shooting in this series, I'm not just looking at Anthony Edwards saying figure it out. Bro, there's a lot of different players on the Pacers who can figure it out. I think this could be a completely different series than people believe. Originally, I picked OKC. But I'm changing my mind. I'm just going to go ahead and ride out with the Pacers. Fuck it. I'm going to die on that shit. With that being said, though, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in this world, so choose to be kind to somebody today. If you heard something that you... if you heard something that you liked, that you rocked with, that you fucked with, that you said, that's interesting, I might gotta check buddy out. Drop a like, a comment, subscribe, share even. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I appreciate you for everything, for each and every one of them things that you might do. I'm not going to say that you're going to do, because I don't like telling people what to do. But with that being said, I fuck with you, I love you, and I truly do appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Till next time, Saint out.
Cashing in, say, the way Liv did, well, that's like winning the lottery, isn't it? And I don't need to win the lottery because I work my ass off every week for a paycheck.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.